Hi everyone, welcome to this live Socialista session. I'm Dami, the founder of Socialista, and I'm going to be joined by Rasha in one moment, so I'm just going to add her in. Oh.
Hi, Danny.
Hi Rasha, how are you? Very
I'm very well,
good.
thank you. How are you
Um,
doing?
Thank you so much for joining this session, and I'm really excited to talk to you today about social etiquette. I think there's so many different angles of etiquette, and I think you've always been a big supporter of the club. I've done a few sessions with you in the past, but I don't think we've touched upon, socializing etiquette so much. So I'm really excited for today's session. Um,
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk about it. And thank you for creating this amazing club for women where they can learn all about etiquette and image and social and professional life. This is
Thank
very
you so much.
amazing. So thank you.
Okay, so let's get into it. So please tell us more about yourself and how you found yourself, as an etiquette coach.
It was very spontaneous, actually, the way I found myself in the etiquette realm. So I am a wedding planner originally. I've been a wedding planner for the past almost 6 years. And throughout the weddings, we carry all kinds of weddings. There's formal, informal, relaxed. And I've seen this habit of people not following the social decorum, not because they don't want to, but because they genuinely do not know. So I thought that etiquette can be very helpful and beneficial for people. It is an art, it is a skill that you learn. It's
Right.
not something that you're born with. So it's an art that you study and you implement in your daily life and you practice it until it becomes an art and part of your daily life. So I understand that many people lack the social skills required of them to bloom in their social lives. And for example, I've had many weddings where the bride tells me things like, when should I send the RSVP cards? How do I respond
Right.
to declined cards? Or even guests coming late to a ceremony and they just want to barge into the ceremony, not knowing that this is against the etiquette rules to just come in late into the ceremony. Or even simple questions like, which fork should we use for the beef? Which knife shall we use for the bread? These simple questions, they genuinely do not know. And I've received a lot of these questions throughout my professional life. So this really inspired me to share this knowledge with them, to share this knowledge with many people who are interested in that, and and help people bloom in their social and professional life. And it really helps because when you have etiquette, everything in your life gets smoother without you knowing. So that's how I got into it, and now it became my other job
Oh, that's
other
amazing.
than wedding planning.
Hi, ladies. Thanks for joining. So you do both now, right? So, explain to us
Yeah.
exactly what social etiquette is and why you think it's so important.
Social etiquette,
Yeah.
you know Emily Post. She's the pioneer. So she said something. Every social, every social encounter is either made smooth by etiquette
Mm-hmm.
or awkward by lack of it. And that's a very true statement because if you don't have etiquette, your social life will become a little bit more awkward by the way you approach people, the way you talk to people, your demeanor, your attitude, all of that is connected, highly connected to etiquette. So if you're not incorporating social etiquette into your social life, it's going to affect you in a more awkward way. It's going to, have people think maybe less of you. Not less, but they will basically think that you're not proper enough. So just like Emily Post said, it does make things awkward for you. And social etiquette has a lot to do with emotional intelligence. So you really need to understand the other person. You need to pause. You need to read the room, read the person, understand their attitude, and based on their attitude, based on their demeanor, based on their personality, you kind of communicate with them in that manner. So we always communicate with people based on their vibe and based on their mindsets and their mentality and the way they approach people. You can't be formal if you're in a relaxed environment where everyone is drinking, having fun, joking around, and you're the only formal one. And same goes with if you're in a formal environment, you can't be relaxed and act like you're with your best friends, right? So this is where emotional intelligence comes in picture, is when you actually read the room, read people, and understand the environment, understand where you're coming from, where they're coming from, and act based on that. So emotional intelligence is very important. This really will enhance your interaction with people. And we are human. I mean, I understand there's a lot of connection to technology these days. Everyone is on their phones, everyone is on their applications. So that really reduced our ability to communicate with people. And I've seen this happen all the time. When you are in a meeting, for example, or you're in an event and you're on your phone, just taking selfies, taking pictures, when people are around you who do not have their phones, for example, or they're trying to make interactions with you, they're trying to talk to you. That's a huge mistake that I've been seeing is, you can't be on your phone. So that really affected the way we communicate with people. That's why social etiquette now became extremely crucial for us to be able to enhance that human interaction again, and to be able to polish that human interaction again, and to make sure that everything is going smoothly and positively with others. So I believe this is very important. It really helps you form the right interactions for you. So every person you meet in your life will either be a potential friend, will either be a potential professional, professional friend or professional acquaintance that you might need later on in life, or, a relationship if it's a man, or a woman if you're a man. So every human interaction can be an opportunity for something better. So you really have to know how to navigate your social interaction with them. So very important. I believe social etiquette really breaks it or make it for you when it comes to communications.
And I really like what you said about reading the room, because I think sometimes people see etiquette as like a fixed set of rules. So you have to act the same way in every single context and environment. And I love what you said about how it's adapting to different environments and doing that intelligently. Yeah.
It's actually one of the misconceptions of etiquette. When you're following the rules by the book in every setting, this is not etiquette anymore. This is you trying to fit in, following the wrong kind of concept. So no, you have to read the room and you have to navigate through it, as long as you're staying respectful to everybody.
Okay, nice. So what are the biggest etiquette mistakes that you've seen people make socially?
Oh, a lot. Nothing so drastic, but I've seen a lot of mistakes in my professional life as a wedding planner, in my personal life as well, even between friends and families. These things can happen everywhere in life. So the number one thing I noticed in social settings is people get too personal. They get too comfortable with you if it's an event where people don't know you that much yet, or you don't know everyone, they're just acquaintances, or it's a professional event, people tend to get comfortable, and they start talking about personal matters, their personal matters, asking personal questions. You have to avoid personal questions at all costs when it comes to people you don't know that much, even if they're just acquaintances or professional colleagues. you need to stay away from personal questions, and you need to stay away from talking about your personal matters as well. Nobody really cares, and I have to say it out loud here, nobody really cares about your personal matters. They're not your family and friends. People are there to socialize, build connections, and network. So when it's in that environment, you need to stay away from that, unless it's a best friend who wants your best interest, unless it's someone who you can really open up to, and that's something we can cover later during the conversation. But yeah, so staying away from personal questions, personal matters, stay away from controversial questions or topics, like religion, politics. These are definitely a no-no when it comes to social settings. People are talking about not many, not all of them, but I know in general people are uncomfortable talking about religion and politics, and these topics end up in a heated conversation that you really want to avoid when it comes to social settings in places you don't really know many people. So these are the main topics that I noticed people make, mistakes that I noticed people make in social settings. The other thing is watch your posture. You're watching your posture, when you're watching the way your body language with people, that you can give out an inviting vibe to you. So when you're like walking properly, you have your back straight and you look comfortable, you look confident. This really helps people approach you better versus you're like having a drink, you're slouch, or you're crossing your arms. You're giving out the vibe that you're not interested in talking. You're not interested in conversations. So watch your posture, watch your body language, make sure you're opening up, your chest is open, you're confident in yourself. And people love confident people. People love to see confidence in others, and that's inspiring for them. So in order for people to approach you properly, confidence needs to be your main vibe. All right. The other thing I noticed is, and that's in professional settings, in professional events, if you're a professional and you have business cards, I notice so many people just give out their business cards mindlessly. And that's something that I noticed not just in professional events, but also in social events, cocktail events. People use these events for their professional purposes, but the way they're giving out their cards is the wrong way. You should not be giving out your cards mindlessly unless they're asked for, unless you build rapport with the person you're talking to. So you need to have a conversation with the person first. You need to understand how they're connected to you personally and professionally. You need to understand how they are, if they're really interested in getting to know you better, if they're interested in a future connection and communication with you. So if you notice this, and that's a vibe that you get, back to emotional intelligence and reading people, you will learn how to read people by having these short conversations with. So if they ask for your number or your email, oh, here's my card, right? But do not give out your cards,
unwarranted,
to everybody. Yes. And that's something I have seen happen. Unfortunately, most of these people end up not calling, not communicating, simply because it looks or it seems aggressive to them the way the cards have been handed. Unless it's asked for, give value for yourself. This is you basically giving value for your cards, your business, yourself, and you're only giving it to people who are interested, who are potential friends or potential professional acquaintances, whatever the case might be. Be protective of your business, be protective of your identity, and do not just give it out mindlessly. The other thing I noticed is the volume. When you're talking to people, you need to watch your volume. You don't want your volume to be too loud, because loud volume can affect the setting of the interaction. You can sound aggressive, even though it's not your intention. You can sound dominating, even if it's not your intention. And I've seen this happen a lot. It will unfortunately repel people from you. So talking too loud versus and talking too low as well. People want to hear you. People want to be able to listen to you. So be mindful of the tone of your voice when you're talking to people. Make sure it's friendly, it's balanced, it's not too loud and not too low, and make sure that you're not talking too fast either. So you're talking
Right.
slowly, you're talking clearly, you're just being mindful to the other person so they can understand you better, they can communicate better with you. And lastly, the last mistake I've seen, and I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
everybody has seen it,
Oh,
drinking,
yeah.
excessive drinking. Yes, so yes, there's a bar in those social settings. Usually there's drinking involved, and sometimes it's an open bar. And I've seen that happen in weddings. And unfortunately, in many weddings, excessive drinking did lead to chaotic
Oh no.
circumstances where police were involved and security had to be involved. And that's something nobody wants to see. Not just in weddings. Like I've seen that happen in weddings, but I know many people when they excessively drink, they get to a
Mm.
point where they lose control of the way they talk, the way they present themselves, and they get too comfortable. That's not something, that's appropriate in social settings. You can do that at home. You can do that with your best friends, definitely when the circumstance allows for. But when it comes to social settings where many people are involved and there are many people you don't know, then yes, stay away from drinking. Maybe one, two drinks maximum. My usually I say to everybody the limit is two drinks. Two drinks, it allows you to enjoy the night, it allows you to enjoy yourself, and it allows you to
Right.
communicate better with everybody. Yeah, these are the mistakes I've seen, the main ones. There are many, but these are the ones that I've seen happen because they do affect
Right.
you as a person or anybody who
And
doesn't.
it affects the impression people have of you as well. So I have a
Absolutely.
question. So going back to what you said about discussing certain topics, religion, politics, and so on. So if you're in an event and somebody brings up this topic, right? What is the best way to kind of react, respond to this kind of thing, would you say?
If acquaintance or someone you hardly know, just simply say it's not a
Mm.
topic I'm comfortable in discussing. Or, or you can just say make it very short, sweet, and general. You know, in my case, I would never be specific. I would just say that's not something I'm comfortable with, not something I'm comfortable in discussing, and then I kind of change the topic to something else smoothly, and I try to make it
Mm.
about themselves, about them. Try to make them talk, and that's when people enjoy it more because people love to talk about themselves. So maneuver the conversation
Okay,
into that
that's very
territory.
smart, very smart. And I think when you said about drinking as well, I think those two things can tend to combine a lot. I've seen that happening where it's like everyone starts drinking and then all these controversial topics, people just start blurting everything out and they can't control themselves anymore. And then it like
Yeah,
can end badly as well. And it's like, instead of you kind of creating connections, you end up kind of creating more animosity, maybe making some enemies as well. So,
it's happens a lot, and you don't want that. You don't want to create enemy. You don't want to bring a negative vibe into anything, into any event, whether and especially to you, because everybody in the room now know who you are, and trust me, your reputation is your currency when it comes to social events. So you have to always be mindful of that. You have to always protect your identity. So that's a form of protecting your identity when you
okay.
learn social
Very
etiquette.
good. So let's set the scene. So of course, at Socialista, we always attending loads of events and all of our members. So, let's say one of our listeners is attending like a nice social event. How would you advise them to kind of approach the situation? to put themselves in the best light?
I would say, first of all, make sure your appearance is top notch and dress for the, if it's a formal event, make sure you're dressing formally based on the dress code. If it's a cocktail event, make sure you're dressing cocktail attire. So dress based on the dress code. Make sure what the dress code is. And sorry about the loud. Make sure you're dressing appropriately and be presentable. It takes 7 seconds for people to form a first impression. And trust me, before you even start speaking, the way you dress, the way you walk, the way you present yourself, your posture, your demeanor, it says a lot about you. So learn how to do that first. And before you enter the room, own your confidence and be ready to socialize. So I know many people get intimidated by socializing and meeting new people. However, it is so much fun when you know how to navigate through the interactions. So being presentable is number one. Authenticity. Be real. Be who you are. Do not be afraid to hide who you are. When we say follow etiquette rules and be respectful, that doesn't mean you need to hide who you truly are to interact with others. People smell through you. So people smell the inauthenticity. And trust me, they do not like it. They will see right through it and they will have a conversation with you. And based on one conversation, they can tell if you're being real with them or not. That's something you want to avoid for sure. So be real about who you are, be authentic. The way you speak with people, be genuine in your feelings. Show them that you're interested in them. Show them that you're interested in the conversation. Give genuine compliments. Like, I like your dress is not a genuine compliment. That's something everybody starts with. It became a norm now. But let's say this nurse came into this room and there's another nurse she's really interested in getting to know. Okay? She opens up with something that the other nurse accomplished in her life. Normally, it's something related to her professional work, related to her personality, related to her if she has any people she dealt with, maybe she related to these people, and give a compliment based on that. For example, I like the way you dealt with this, and this. Or let's say that there's a writer in the room, or any profession. I read this book and I really enjoyed it, and I have a question about it. Can we talk about it? For example, these are examples of genuine compliments, and that really what starts the conversation. Know how to start your compliments in a way that it basically leads to a good conversation you're going to have with the other person. And as I mentioned, people love talking about themselves, so make them talk about themselves. That's part of your charm as a person, as a woman, or as a man, is to allow people the opportunity to talk about themselves and about their accomplishments or about whatever the compliment was about. That's a good start. So be genuine, be authentic in the way you approach people. And as I said, read through the room. Make sure the other person you're approaching is available for you to talk, because some people are not available. Do not approach two people talking to each other, because you are going to be in a conversation, right? Do not approach a circle. Let's say 3 or 4 people talking to each other and they're forming a circle. You will see it. It's going to be closed circle. Do not just barge in, try to introduce yourself. Body language here is key. Understanding the body language of others is key for you to know who to approach and who to not approach. So the people who you can approach are people who are standing alone. You can see them. Usually they're by the bar having a drink, standing alone, looking around. Usually these people who are ready to start socializing. If you see 2 people talking, but their body language is facing forward, like they're not facing each other. They're basically standing like this. They're basically allowing others to come into the conversation and talk. So you can just simply say, "Hi guys, how are you doing? I've seen you doing this, or I've seen your speeches in one of the days or something like this. You start the conversation based, as I said, based on something they did or they accomplished, and you introduce yourself. Even if it's three people standing together talking, usually there is space for you to come in, and that's key. But do not approach two people facing each other, because normally if they're facing each other, that means they are invested in a conversation together. They don't want anyone to interrupt, or like circles who are comfortable with themselves and they're not going to allow anyone to come in. It's going to look awkward. So body language is key in the way you introduce yourself and the way you start conversations. Always be mindful of that, especially if it's people you do not know, right? The other thing is keep a positive attitude. Smile, open up conversations that bring positivity to the interactions. Do not complain. Do not open up depressing subjects. I've seen in many interactions they talk about famines and wars and are going on badly in the world, and you really do not want that in these kind of conversations in the interaction, unless it's a political unless this is the only exception. If it's a political event that, or a political campaign or anything, you can bring these subjects because they are needed in the conversation. But if it's just a social event like wedding, a birthday party, a professional networking event, you do not want to bring depressing topics you want to bring positive topics, good vibes. That's what you want to bring into the table. People are going to have fun. People want to enjoy their times. People want to enjoy their interactions. So make sure that you keep it positive at all times. Drinking in balance is huge, as I mentioned. 2 drinks is more than enough for you to enjoy the night, to enjoy yourself, and to keep everything under control. That's also tells a lot about you, about your self-control, your demeanor. You will gain respect more by how you act, not by how you speak per se. It's how you act that tells a lot about you, in most cases. And treat everyone with respect. That's as simple as it is. Treat them with respect. Don't be too aggressive in the way you approach them. Be respectful to their space, so don't stand too close to them. Don't be too touchy with them. Don't touch them. If they hug you, hug them back. If they shake hands with you, shake their hands. But do not, how some people just touch you, touch your dress, do not touch them too much. That's not something that's going to be received well by others, as much as you would like to be friendly. You can be friendly, of course, but respect people's space. So I think this is the way you handle the night. And when you want to exit, you're done with the event, make sure you say goodbye to the people you had a good communication with, and exchange phone numbers, emails. If you feel the vibe is very good and they want to continue a friendship, they can always set a time and date and start the friendship. So that's how friendships and even relationships are.
Those are some amazing tips. Thank you. And I've been guilty myself of breaking a few of those. So it's definitely a learning experience. And the more you put yourself in those situations, then the easier it becomes, right? So
we all are. Trust me. These are things that as you go. And it's you learn by trial and error. So you have to go through them to learn. Oh, okay, this does not really work for it. Bad impression here. So yeah, definitely.
Do you have any tips for people who are going to social events where they don't know anyone? So maybe it's like they're going to a wedding, but then they're going alone, or they're going to a networking event by themselves. That kind of thing. Do you have any tips?
For sure. So many of the tips that I applied to the scenario apply to these events where you don't know anybody. Again, here, body language is key. So you really need to have an open body language. You really need to be an inviting person. And your body language, it makes you either inviting or closed. You don't want to be a closed person. You want to be inviting. And by being inviting means an open chest, your shoulders to the back, a good posture, a confident posture. These are all indications that others are able to approach you. Do we have a question here? I was invited at a private social club tomorrow evening as a prospective member. This is super helpful.
Yeah,
So happy you
great.
find it helpful. If you have any questions, always send it to us as well. But yeah, you'll do great. You will do great. And again, I'm going to talk about just be confident and mind your body language. This is very important. So open body language is very important. Again, no personal questions. Definitely no personal questions with others that don't know you much. When it comes to weddings, it's more relaxed versus, say, networking events. In weddings, people are okay to be more, more social, more friendly, more relaxed. It's okay to have these friendly conversations with, and to open up conversations about family, friends. These are the only personal questions that you can open in weddings. But in networking events, you really want to shed light on your professional demeanor, how you are professionally. How do you speak with people? Your leadership skills, how you lead the conversations. These are very important indicators of your personality, because in professional networking events, people want to see your personality more than the other aspects of you, who you are. And I noticed that in many networking events and interviews actually, or job fairs, people don't care really about your achievements as much as your personality, your work ethics, the way you handle people, the way you talk to them. That's what makes you successful in life. You can have the credentials, of course, you can have the knowledge and the skills, but if your personality is not matching the way they want, like for example, if it's not matching, if you're in a leadership role, or if you are in or if even as a colleague, you really need to understand that your personality plays a huge role in your success, and the way you present yourself in those networking events it's very important to secure you for later opportunities. If there are people who know that you have the credentials to for a potential job, maybe they will put you in their mind. They will keep you in their mind. They will contact you later if you made a good impression. So definitely keep your body language open. Make sure that you're being respectful, you're being professional. Smile, and when you talk to people, make sure there's always eye contact. Do not try to stray away. Don't look into your phone, and even if it rings, just say excuse me while maintaining eye contact. Excuse me, I really got to take this. I'll be right with you, and we will continue from there. So make sure that there's always eye contact with the other person. It gives them that sense of importance to you, and that you're not ignoring the conversation, you're not ignoring them, you are giving them the respect that just give them the respect the way you want to be respected. When you're talking to others, you don't want them to be busy on their phones or straying away, or they're looking into the room. And I've seen this happen all the time. When two people are having a conversation, the other person can be distracted by others in the room, right? And you really don't want to do that. When you're talking to a person, they're your whole world basically for the next 5-10 minutes. So make sure you maintain that eye contact, but of course do not do it in a creepy way. Do not keep it like this. Just make sure it's proper and you're giving them the importance they deserve. And again, that's something I mentioned before, is allow them to talk about themselves. People love talking about themselves, and allow them to talk about themselves, allow them to talk about their achievements, their personality, bring up conversations that they might enjoy, and get to know them. People are very interesting when you get to know them. They might not look like, but they are very interesting. And you will discover the beauty of diversity when you start talking and you let them talk about themselves. And again, that's actually part of your charm, is by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I don't know if you read that book, but he talks about, maintaining eye contact, smile, and allow them to talk about themselves. That will give you the charm. You will be a charming person if you do that. So that's a trick, and I would like every lady to follow it, just because it will add to her, to her personality. And also stay confident, even if you don't feel confident, even if you don't feel like you are, you don't know anybody, what will people think of me? What if I don't have the right topics to talk about? Your confidence alone is going to let people approach you, open up conversations with you, and do not overthink it. Just go with the flow, talk about whatever they're talking about, just stay away from the controversial topics we mentioned, and you will be a rock star.
I love those tips. Okay, so our final question will be more about family and friends. So I think people tend to feel they need etiquette when it's people they don't really know very well. They're trying to make new connections. But I do think it also applies to your current network, your friendships, your family. Any kind of quick tips for behaving around those people too?
Etiquette applies to everybody, even your sisters, your siblings, your family members. Because what is etiquette? Etiquette is honesty, etiquette is respect, etiquette is consideration to the feelings of others. So that applies even to your current circle. You can't be disrespectful to your family or to your friends. You can't be, you have to have consideration towards them. Honesty is big one in etiquette. So those are the three pillars of etiquette, are these three components. If you don't have them with your family, then you definitely don't have them with others you don't know. So you really have to apply them through to your family first and your inner circle first before you apply them outwards. So etiquette does apply even towards yourself. You really need to have etiquette towards yourself, and that's what I call inner etiquette. You have to be respectful towards yourself. If you don't have self-respect, how are you going to be respectful towards others? If you're not honest with yourself, if you're not giving yourself the time, and you're not being considerate towards yourself, you're not going to be able to be considerate towards others. So etiquette applies to everybody, including yourself. Now, when it comes to friends and family, I understand it's a more relaxed environment. You can talk about whatever you feel like. You can be open. These people know you. They know who you are, and they know how you are on the inside. So it's okay to be relaxed with them, but keep it respectful. You can't talk in a high volume, for example, with your parents. You can't be demeaning to anybody. These are by default, I'm just saying these by default, right? But I've seen it happen before, and it's really disrespectful. You should not be doing that, right? And that's basic etiquette rule, basic, you know. So yes, be relaxed, be yourself, be who you authentically are, but keep it respectful. Don't yell at anybody. Of course, you can be angry, but there are ways to communicate your anger, even with your best friends, even with your family members. There are ways to communicate them peacefully, respectfully, and to make sure that you get the result you want. So yes, be relaxed, be respectful, be positive as well with them. You can if there's something going on in your life, you can by all means complain, but do not be a perpetual complainer, and especially with your best friends, because as friends, people make time for each other in their busy lives. We are all busy. If I want to make time, maybe every couple of weekends with my friends, I really want to enjoy my time. I don't want to be hearing a lot of negativity or complaints or, you know, yes, I would love to hear about what's going on in their lives and be there for them. But if you're complaining in
Mm.
every single gathering with the friends, that's a no-no. Like you have to be mindful that others, like your friends, they want to have fun, they want to enjoy their time. We want to catch up with each other, but do not make it a negative vibe for too long. If they ask you how you're feeling or how you are or how's everything in your life and you have something to complain about,
Right.
complain for about 5 minutes, I would say. 5 minutes, let them know how things are going on in your life, but then switch it to a positive vibe. But you know what, guys? I'm with you now, and I feel great. Let's
That's
let's
great.
drink to that, for
Mm.
example. Like, that's a switch it. Right? So always be positive when you're with your friends and family as well, because positivity is contagious, and you really want that higher vibration in your environment. You don't want to be stuck in lower vibrations. So it's contagious. If you're being negative, they're gonna catch it too. And it's gonna be a negative vibe, and you don't want that. So try to always stay positive within yourself, no complaining, and keep things respectful. Don't talk too much about yourself. You can obviously when they're asking you how you are and how's your life, whatever. If you have a new job, share it with them. If you have a new, maybe if you're getting married, share some details with them, but do not make the whole setting about you. It's egotistical, it's not nice, and people will not have a chance to speak or express. And I've seen it happen all the time. And I've seen these same people talk about that particular person negative, even if they're best friends sometimes. Like, you guys, let's just hang out and
Mm.
and we'll invite that
Yep.
person later. They know that they're going to take over the conversations and they're not going to allow them to be able to talk to each other properly.
Mm.
So that's a mistake I've been seeing a lot happen, even in best friend settings, and that's not something you want. Obviously, you want a healthy environment, you want people to enjoy your company, and you want to enjoy their company as well. So these are my main tips when it comes to family and friends, to keep it respectful, and most importantly, it is respect towards yourself as well. You are being respectful towards yourself before you're
Oh,
being
that's
respectful to
amazing. I love
everybody
those
else.
tips. And that's the best place that you can start practicing, the people who you see the most. And then when you go out, it's like you
Yes,
already have that kind of like self-respect and kind of, good manners and everything, which will help you when you're making new friends. So,
absolutely. And again, like, you are going to make mistakes, and it's okay. Do not beat yourself for it. It's fine. Life is about learning. It's a learning journey, and we are going to learn by making mistakes. So the most important part is to be mindful of those mistakes. Like, when you start talking about yourself in a setting, you should be present with yourself enough to notice that, oh, okay, maybe I'm starting to lean towards talking about myself. Maybe I should stop here. And that's half of the solution, is to recognize where you're going wrong, what you're fixing, and to
mm,
make sure it doesn't happen again in another setting. So it's very important to be mindful of who you are and yourself and your actions at all times. Of course, do not be a very type A personality. Like, I know some people who are by the book, following everything. And if you're like that, you are going to be judgmental towards others. And I've seen so many people who follow everything by the book, they become judgmental towards
mm,
others, which is not the proper etiquette. Proper etiquette is to be open,
mm.
is to be open to
Yeah.
the environment. Proper etiquette is to play by the vibe, know what the vibe is, and kind of play your personality based on it. So, again, it's all about respect, and it's not going to be, it's not very hardcore, if you know what I mean. It's very flexible as long as you're being mindful of your actions.
Amazing. Well, I think that brings us to the end of
Thank you.
this talk. And as always, it's been so fascinating, and I've learned so much from you in this, this short session that we've had. So thank you so much.
Thank you so so much for having me, Dami, and I wish you all the best. And yeah, and if my followers are watching, Dami is the owner of the Socialista Women's Club. She offers a lot of insightful events, and it's all about etiquette, femininity, and self-development. So if you can follow her, that would be great
Amazing.
as
Thank
well.
you so much. And of course, and you're starting to offer more sessions as well. You mainly do online sessions at the moment, and you're thinking of doing a few in person soon.
I, yes, I'm doing online for now, but I'm also open for in-person workshops. That would be, yes, that's part of
Amazing.
my
All right. So
plans.
if anyone just joined, then this will be available to watch on my feed. And yeah, thank you all for joining. And
Thank you, thank you, Dami, for
thank you. Take
having me,
care.
and I wish
Bye,
you all the
everyone.
best. Bye.